What's up, comic fans out there? I'm Tor the Max Extreme.
And I'm Ghost Hunter Dave.
This is IMPERIUS REX.
Oh man, is it ever.
Whew. Today's show, we'll be going over a cavalcade of stuff.
Nice usage of words.
Thank you.
Or one word.
A lot of stuff happened recently in the comic book medium.
And we want to talk about it.
All of it.
But we also decided we're going to try to shorten our shows.
Just a bit.
Make them a little more digestible.
That's right.
So this is going to be a hell of an experiment.
A lot of cram in to a small area.
Exactly.
Don't we know it?
Oh! Should we, is it a thing that we missed, or should we hit on one of these?
Always miss.
Alright.
It's just always a miss.
Alright. We're wasting time, Troy!
On with the show. Now, if we can
Hang on. Well, we throw the intro, the theme song there.
Boom,
boom,
boom, boom, boom, boom. Now, top of the hour, we got X-Men Apocalypse coming up. Stay tuned. Don't leave. Promise. It'll be a thing.
It will be here. We promise. We've seen it. Just don't leave yet. We've absolutely seen it.
First things first. The big two, DC, Marvel, had some quite a few shakings up this last week. First up, Captain America. Spoilers, by the way.
Yes.
Spoilers. Captain America had a little bit of maybe a change of heart in the newest Captain America issue, number 1.
The newest one,
number one. New costume?
New writer?
New age? He's young again, apparently.
Oh yeah, I forgot he got really old.
That's right, it's in the
So
beginning
behind on
intro.
Marvel.
Yeah. But yeah, if you haven't seen it already, he says in this famous panel you're probably seeing right here, "Hail Hydra."
Ouch.
What does it mean? It means he
the American dream is dead, Troy.
Oh, okay, take it easy, comedian.
Oh man, if you've gone on the internet, chances are, even if you're not a comic book fan, this may have popped up on some sort of feed.
Yeah. Maybe not with the same word bubble, because that was a meme instantly.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, quite a shakeup, I would have to say.
A lot of animosity right now circling this issue.
My word. And reading through it, it's very political and very reminiscent of what's going on kind of now. I don't want to get into that because that's really boring.
In real politics?
Yeah.
Real politic, I believe it's called. And they throw a K in it somewhere. Maybe in the middle.
Could
be the
somewhere.
End. Who knows?
There could be some letter in there.
Wow. So they're just going topical and they're dividing opinions. Sounds
mostly negative.
Yeah.
But, you know, we were talking right before we started recording this. It's just a story. It's just a comic. Peter Parker wasn't Spider-Man for like a year and a half, almost 2 years. It was Doc Ock. Guess who's Peter Parker, or who Spider-Man is now?
He's
Peter Parker. Yeah. Well, unless you count Miles Morales.
Oh, so, just shows you. These things have ramifications.
Shaking it up.
But yeah, and here's the thing too. When that happened with the Superior Spider-Man run, right off the bat, internet hated it.
Oh, yeah.
Death threats.
Yeah.
And now it's looked back on as like one of the best Spider-Man runs.
Yeah.
So chances are that's probably how this is going to go. And again, this is issue 1 of like, these are 6-issue arcs.
Yeah.
You get like the first 10 minutes basically in an issue. So there's more of the story coming, and they'll probably explain why he's saying Hail Hydra. Something tells me there's going to be a twist to this. So calm down, people.
Cool your jets. It'll all be fine. You'll look on this with great glory.
You'll look back and you'll laugh.
You'll think back, man, that was a thing.
It sure was.
Second thing on the docket.
2 big ones within the same week.
Yeah. Almost stepping on each other's toes.
Yes. I think I did say that.
DC Rebirth dropped this last Wednesday. My word. They did some ballsy stuff in this book.
They sure did.
I still am not quite sure what to think of it completely. I like it. because I would have never seen this coming in a million years.
Absolutely not. They touched a property. All right, we'll just flat out spoil this one too.
Yeah.
If you're sticking with us, you know all this shit already. A property that is like the definitive graphic novel of all time.
Of all time.
And it's always just been that. But to bring Watchmen into the main DC universe, which is what happens in this.
Yeah.
What a move.
I know. I thought exactly the same thing. And then when you go back and you knowing it and you see like the clues, even the cover is...
It is flat out Dr. Manhattan.
It's like...
I was shocked that this happened. I was more shocked about how well they did it.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't spoiled for me personally.
I know, I got it wrecked too.
I know. It happened to me unbeknownst to what I listened to a podcast that usually is very good at handling spoilers. They did warn me and I'm like, it won't be that big. And then they said it, I'm like, oh, shit.
Didn't I just tell you, like, if you haven't had this spoiled for you yet, please, for my sake, avoid it. I just want to hear someone...
before you said it.
I want to hear some reaction to fresh eyes.
Yeah.
And,
but it was still...
It was good.
Yeah. And they don't even really dive headfirst into it. It's blatant that it's Watchmen. Mm-hmm. But they don't, like, bash it over the head. It's still kind of ambiguous.
You don't see any Watchmen.
Yeah, right. Correct. There's a watch.
There is a watch, and there's plenty of men in it.
So, there you go.
All right, I guess I was wrong. You got me there. But no, so well done.
Yeah.
The panel layouts mirror certain panels in Watchmen.
Yep.
The narration eventually becomes like the Watchmen narration, and it even switches to the Comic Sans font that Watchmen has.
Yep.
I loved it. And it's all written by Jeff Johns. It's like his final farewell to DC Comics before he's moving on to kind of oversee the film universe.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm excited to see where this goes.
Me too.
And it's also a little bit of a clean slate to wash the taste of New 52 out of everyone's mouth and also explain why it happened.
Yeah.
Which it seems like Dr. Manhattan is behind the creation of the New 52.
Right.
And everyone who was in the previous continuity universe like lost 10 years of their life and now it's all kind of, I don't know.
They're just in the New 52. Yeah, they're back to like starting where they began. Which I didn't hate the New 52 going in.
No, I didn't either.
But we can go on that on a whole nother diatribe and whole episode on that. But yeah, interesting stuff happening with DC Rebirth. I would suggest pick it up just for the art itself, and it's a pretty decent story.
It's good. Good jumping on point for new readers, and if old readers are pissed about the whole state of affairs in the DC universe, I think it's a great way to get them back in.
Right.
Man,
definitely buzzworthy.
Yep.
The second thing, moving on to the small screen. Mm-hmm. By now, 2 episodes of this are out.
We're talking like we're spoiling culling out what this is. Preacher.
Yeah.
Preacher is on TV.
Well, I'm trying to build it up and.
You don't want to bury the lead. No. And we're keeping this short, and we're already way over.
It doesn't matter. But yeah, Preacher's out, and I would have to say the only thing I saw about Preacher after it debuted was all mostly negative stuff.
Really?
Yeah, you saw it, right?
Yeah, I watched it last night.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Was it strict to the story? No.
I've heard a lot of reviews say it felt like Preacher.
Yeah.
And I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, I agree.
There's no, like, scenes out of Preacher in this anyway. Not yet.
Right.
It's all kind of prelude to where it picks up in the comic. Mm-hmm. But, man, it did feel like Preacher.
And even before I heard this, I heard that it was going to be not exactly the same. It wasn't going to be page to screen. It was going to be an adaptation of it. So,
and that's expected with any big property.
Right. Walking Dead does it already. And that's why I assumed it was kind of going to tread the lines of the book, but like waver here and there. Yeah. Which is good, because then you don't see stuff coming.
Did you, real quick, we won't get into it, because maybe we'll have an upcoming Preacher episode. Spoilers. We will. But really quick, give me one positive and one negative about it, in your eyes.
You know what I really liked? The opening, where it was kind of like, it looked like old-timey.
I fucking love that.
I did too! I really liked it.
That is we'll do mine here too. Mm-hmm. That was my favorite thing about this whole thing, was these weird little flourishes that they do throughout it.
I like it too.
In the opening, like you said, it's so bizarre. Yeah. You think like they're watching like a 70s monster movie.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, that's just how they're depicting outer space and the spirit of Genesis or whatever's journey to Earth.
I liked it.
Yep.
If I had a negative, I would say it's over violent for the sake of just being over violent.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a part where like Jesse breaks a guy's arm and his bone sticks out. I'm like, you didn't need to have that in there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
To like put over how much of a badass he is.
Right. You mentioned the violence seemed like over the top. I didn't notice anything too bad, but maybe I was expecting worse.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, like, I'm not a huge fan of the guy they got playing Jesse.
Oh, yeah?
And even when they cast him, I was like, okay. Like, I don't mind the actor. I just don't think he looks the part. And he's got a very soft baby face.
Yeah.
And they've had him grow a beard, which he doesn't normally have in the comics,
right.
maybe to roughen him up a little.
Mm-hmm.
But he just doesn't come off as, like, cocky and... I don't know, he doesn't have the charm that I read Jesse Custer with in the book.
I would agree with you, but I'm saying now that we haven't seen really what he's actually like yet. Mm-hmm. He's trying to live this other life in this first episode.
True.
And you kind of see it come out a little bit during that bar fight where it kind of pans to him and he gets like a smile on his face.
I did like that.
So I'm thinking he's going to progress a lot more. But Cassidy is spot on.
He's good. And I like Tulip in it quite a bit.
Yeah,
too.
I like Tulip. Some of her stuff was a little over the top when she...
We're
going into this a lot, but...
The reveal that they've built a bazooka made me laugh out loud. But no, solid. I would say give it a watch. It's unlike a lot of other things on TV right now.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
And it's worth it just for that.
AMC. Another thing that just dropped, the first episode is free on YouTube if you want to check it out, is Robert Kirkman's Outcast.
Right, which is going to be on Showtime later.
Cinemax.
Actually,
yeah.
It's not going to be on Showtime.
I have yet to see this. Read the first issue, though?
Very good.
Very good. Yeah. One of the best first issues I think I've ever read.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
I didn't no idea what to expect. Mm-hmm. I knew Robert Kirkman wrote it, and I'm like, it's probably going to be pretty good. And I'm not going to say it knocked my socks off, but I was really impressed and wanted...
They're still on.
They are on.
Mine, however, were knocked off.
They were blown
in earlier incident.
off. Yeah. But I really liked it. I wanted to watch more after the episode finished.
I didn't have a chance to watch it yet, but a buddy at work said the exact same thing. Right. He's like, it was really good. Where can I watch more?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, man. I haven't even seen it yet.
Yeah, well, I didn't see... But I mean, after I read the first issue or whatever, I wanted to read more. I said episode, but...
Oh, so it was a ruse to make me look like a fool.
Well, I told you
fool.
I told you I didn't see it. Doesn't
matter. So that covers 2 comics, 2 TV shows, and we really should get into the meat of the show right now, because X-Men is out, and that's what everyone's interested in right now.
Right. Shut up, these two, about things we already know about.
Yes.
Tell us about our X-Men.
All right.
Is what you say.
Well, afraid we have some explaining to do. We haven't seen it yet.
As of recording this, it's not out yet.
No.
We're 1 day away.
But here's the magical thing about technology, Troy. We can go and see it at our leisure.
That's right.
Because we've got days until this premieres.
Days.
It's amazing.
The time we live in.
All this technology right at our fingertips. So, let's just cut ahead. Let's see what we thought of it.
Yeah.
Man, I wonder what we're going to look like then.
Hey there, Troy, live from Command Center 2. Got out of X-Men Apocalypse. General thoughts? Pretty positive. Coming out of that movie, I had no idea why this movie was getting such low reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and other review sites. It made no sense to me when I left. The general thoughts of the movie, pretty great. Some favorite things that I liked. Magneto was really great in this movie. I think his whole character was like the most rounded out of any other character in the movie, and generally had the more emotional scenes by far throughout the entire film. Quicksilver also had an amazing scene that you've probably heard about already. That was great to watch. I also like the new casting for Jean Grey and Cyclops. I thought their performances were really strong in there too. First time ever I've cared about Cyclops in any X-Men movie. Otherwise he's just been like a cardboard cutout standing there among the rest of the characters. Some dislikes, with as heavy a stakes as this movie had, I felt like there was still no stakes in this movie.
as much as destruction and this whole CGI tearing the world apart, millions of people would be dying. Millions. And it feels like that doesn't matter in this movie. And at a point, there's so much destruction going on, it's just like numbing. I don't even care anymore. And I think that lessens the impact of the movie, whereas like Civil War you saw earlier this year did really good job harkening back to like the amount of deaths and destruction that's gone on in their wake. I also didn't really like the costumes in this movie. I don't know why they're not doing some sort of like an X-Men unified costume. They have like proto X-Men costumes in this that are flight suits, and they're just straight all black leather suits, and even the women's suits have like women breastplates on them, which makes no sense. And I just don't understand why, when you can have an X-Men, or let's say a Deadpool movie, and you can see Negasonic Teenage Warhead in a X-Men-like suit, and it comes off really well on screen, or you have the First Class suits that look really well, and we're still individualized for each character, why you can't do that in future movies? This is the 80s, so like, the only real comic-to-screen look we had was Psylocke. And even then, like, I didn't really like her costume at all. Magneto's costume just looked like a bunch of rubber pads thrown all over it. And I think that was a complaint I had about all of the Four Horsemen. All of their costumes just looked like drugstore rubber padded costumes thrown on them. I thought they were dog shit. But if I could move on from that, my favorite characters were probably Magneto and Quicksilver. With a good emphasis on the new characters, like Jean Grey had a really good arc in this as well, and Cyclops is really good. Where this movie is going, I have no idea. With the amount of destruction that was in this movie, they are going to be world building, literally building the world back up again until maybe the next 10 years where the next movie is going to be set. If you think about it too hard, these new X-Men movies that are coming out, and they keep jumping decades ahead in time, with all these new characters introduced, like, you can't think about, like, why aren't some of these characters aging? Because this is in the 80s, and Havoc was also in First Class, which is set in the 60s. So in this movie, he should be 40-something. At the very least 35. He still looks the same he did in First Class. And that's bothering me. So when they introduce these new cast, as Scott Summers as Havoc's younger brother, who is a teenager, that means Havoc has to be like 35 and Cyclops is like 15. So if you think about it too hard, it kind of will take you out of the movie. But anyway, besides where it's going, I have no idea. The destruction was massive. They're in the post-credit sequences. It alludes to Mr. Sinister coming, so if they're going to shoot another X-Men movie in the 90s, as they've teased, you can maybe possibly see Mr. Sinister, which could be exciting. But overall, I would think I would rank this movie kind of middle of the road. It wasn't bad at all, but it just left me feeling like there were really no stakes, or I didn't really care about much of anything. Whereas First Class and Days of Future Past were good, and I still hold X-Men 2 up there as one of the best X-Men movies that have come out so far. This one just kind of falls in the middle. Like, it's not the best movie ever, but it's definitely not the lowest of the card that these X-Men movies have put out. So, yeah, that's what I thought about X-Men. So, what do you think, Dave?
Thanks, Troy. You know, I think I felt pretty much the same way you did. You know, I went in really wanting to like it, and not a bad movie by any means. Pretty entertaining. Felt a little long, and there weren't any moments in particular that were boring. It just seemed to kind of go on, and I think some of that is, like what you mentioned, with just the mass destruction overkill without really seeing any actual, like, human casualties or anything. So it has no effect. It's just mind-numbing CGI, which normally the X-Men movies don't really fall into that trap. They're more character-centered. They kind of fight smaller personal battles. This one, they go all out. So that got a little old. Also, Apocalypse is very apocalypsy, meaning he's long-winded. He gives very long speeches about mutants overtaking humanity, survival of the fittest. Everything he says, you can just zone off and just know that the character is all about destroying humanity and being the next step in evolution. You don't have to listen to anything he actually says, because it's all the same. But that's kind of how Apocalypse always is, I guess, so good job capturing the character. For the most part, I thought the casting was kind of hit or miss. Oscar Isaacs, who I'm normally a huge fan of, just, he was okay. I guess he was what he needed to be, but I wasn't blown away or really intrigued by his character. And to tell you the truth, I thought the makeup, which, this isn't a big shock because people have been bashing it ever since they saw the first photos. I held out hope that they were going to fix it in post or it would look better on screen. No, I don't think so. I thought it looked kind of like just really bad 80s, maybe that was intentional, bad 80s makeup for like a sci-fi movie. Like his headpiece looked just glued on and muddy, and the lips thing, I don't know. Another casting choice I just did not like. Sophie Turner as Jean Grey. What a bore. Oh my lord. She's got a lot to live up to. Famke Janssen, great actress, really attractive, really just great on-screen presence. I shouldn't have put attractive first, that sounds sexist, but she's total package, she's great. This girl, she's like a cardboard cutout, just like a bored teenager. And granted, she is a teenager, but it's Jean Grey, she's gotta have some spunk. She sucked. Cyclops was fine. Half the cast was good, half was bad. Magneto blurred the line, in my opinion. I thought, to start off, he was amazing. I thought you really felt for him. He tried to turn a leaf. It all got, just burned down in front of him. And then you see why he goes to Apocalypse's side. He has a valid reason. And then, from the halfway point, he's just, nothing. Just barely says a word. And towards a big climactic battle at the end, he just basically surrounds himself in a metal bubble and then just strikes the same pose for the entire fight scene. It's what is going on? Sure, he's causing a lot of destruction around, but he couldn't even be bothered to turn his head until Quicksilver and Jean Grey had been standing there for 15 minutes. So the problem with big, huge, earth-changing event movies like this is they have so many characters that eventually some of them just stand around with nothing to do. Because in order to show each one of them equally and they all have their moment, that means everyone else kind of just has to lay low and just twiddle their thumbs. So I felt like this happened a lot. This was compared a lot to X3, which even in the movie itself, they make an X3 reference, which is actually hilarious. One of the best jokes. It's not a comedy, but great moment. This probably is the most like X3 of all of them, but in a much better way. It's a better X3. Not perfect by any means, has quite a few missteps, and none of them are glaringly terrible that take you out of the movie, but there's definitely room for improvement. I would put it at the weaker end of Singer's run on the X-Men franchise. I don't want to say it's the worst, but I'll definitely say X2, First Class, and probably Days of Future Past are better. There's more going on, it's more entertaining than the first X-Men movie, but that's just because we've established so much, and the first one really had to play it safe and kind of, not be bombastic or anything, because who knew if audiences were ready for that yet. Favorite characters in it? As you said, Magneto was excellent, in my opinion, for the first half. Quicksilver, always entertaining. I like the Angel. I'm an Archangel fan. I thought he was good, kind of off character. I don't even think they call him Warren Worthington in it, and he's definitely not the same character type that he is in the comic. He's pretty much a straight-up bad guy through this entire thing, even before Apocalypse changes him. At least he's not a very nice guy. Kind of a brawler in a cage match, which, different take on him, kind of cool. The metal wings, all that, enjoyed, and they even threw in a Metallica song, I think, during his transformation, which was about the 4 Horsemen of Apocalypse. So a little on the nose, but hey, it's fun. That's the type of movie this is. Nightcrawler was good. Had, overall, it was fine. I think McAvoy, or however the hell, Troy always corrects me, Professor X, young Professor X, and Magneto are the standouts of this whole new trilogy. I think they're the best characters in all 3 of the movies so far. They're really likable. I like McAvoy. I like his take on Professor X, where he's just this kind of cool swinger type of guy, not the traditional stuffy Professor X that we're used to. So I like seeing their interaction together. They really do seem like they could be friends or frenemies, and I think they're the heart and soul of this entire new franchise. Overall, I like the X-Men series. There's only a couple missteps. In this one, while it has some faults, they really, they went crazy for it, so you're bound to have a couple little missteps when there's so much going on in a movie like this. Thought I saw a spider, and I'm right in its path. It's not, it's a clump of dog hair. Don't worry. So yeah, I'll stick with it. They've got a lot of spin-offs kind of in the works, and that's cool too. Maybe what we need is a little break from the main characters and let people kind of pop in and cameo. The Wolverine cameo was cool. I like that. But yeah, more Deadpool, maybe a Gambit. Who knows? So I think the future's bright for X-Men. This movie did well. We're definitely going to get more. And now, in the superhero age, let's see them really, crank it up to 11 and just go full-on ridiculous 90s X-Men. Pouches, weird head sock things, those side shoulder straps, more pouches, whatever. Just go nuts. That's what I want to see. Now, back to you guys. Wow, who would have expected that type of a reaction to a movie?
That was definitely a review of a movie.
Yeah, if my socks weren't already off, they would have been blown into the other room.
That's right. There you have it.
So there you have it, people. That is what we thought of X-Men. Mm-hmm. And man, maybe we'll be excited for another one in the future. I guess we'll have to watch the episode to find out. Oh. But anything else to add, Troy, before we wrap this son of a bitch up?
The only thing I'd like to add is that, you know what? Comics are everywhere these days. We just told you they're on the big screen.
They are.
They're on the small screen. You can go to your local comic book shop and pick them up physically or order them digitally. You have so many outlets.
Just last week, I got to meet one of my favorite authors, Joe Hill of Lock and Key fame. Mm-hmm. And look at this. What a guy.
Look at
Drew a little doodle, wrote a little message.
I like that.
It's creative. There's a little pun on the title. And rock into a roll. And he's promoting his new book, The Fireman, which is across the wall there, but I'm not going to get up because we're already wasting too much time.
Too much time is being wasted.
But awesome guy. Awesome guy. Really personable, funny. I like everything he's written. So I would say go to your bookstore, pick up anything by Joe Hill. You will not be disappointed. Comic, book, whatever. Great writer.
Would agree.
Yep.
Well, there you have it.
And the son of Stephen King. It's in the genes.
That's a little extra info that we didn't even know we were going to say.
Well, I had an idea.
Great.
I had a sneaking suspicion.
You had it cocked and loaded.
Yep.
So anyway, there you have it. That's the
it.
show this week. Hopefully you enjoy everything that's going on around you comic book-wise.
And I hope you love or hate X-Men as much as we did.
So until next time, I'm Troy the Max Extreme.
And I'm Ghost Hunter Dave.
And this has been Imperius Rex.
It has, and it will be again soon.